Hi, I'm Rick Steves, back with more of the best of Europe. This time, we're in Italy. Not yesterday's Italy, but today's Italy. Where are we this time?
Milano, Rick. This time we're going to show you how we actually make Rick Steves Europe. Thanks for joining us. Okay, let's try it again, Rick. Okay.
Milano is today's Italy, and no Italian trip is complete without visiting this city. When I cross the border and people ask me what's my occupation, I say teacher. And for 20 years I was a tour guide, and I still fancy myself as a tour guide. And I'm just taking a lot more people than ever traveling vicariously through public television. Since 1990, we've produced a new series every 2 years. So that's an average of 13 shows every 2 years.
There are these three phases. There's pre-production, field production, and post-production. And the pre-production, we can get extended over a few months, making all the arrangements, getting all the permissions, making all the contacts. It's a tiny team. It's basically Rick, a shooter like Carl, and myself in the field.
Some people would say, well, shouldn't you have a sound man? Well, the cameraman wears the sound man's hat. What about your grip, the guy who carries all the gear? Well, Simon carries the gear, the producer, or the cameraman will carry it, or occasionally I'll carry it. It is so important that we are able to turn on a dime. We're a small crew, we fit into one car. I really like that.
We have really got a system down. I mean, we really travel extremely lightly. It's about as bare bones, I think, as almost any television crew goes, and especially now that we're shooting in high definition. It's a stripped-down production. We pack lightly. Personally, we pack lightly, professionally, but we try to be prepared for most situations.
I mean, part of the reason that we can produce this show in 6 days in the field is because it's super efficient production.
The way this production works, right from the beginning all the way throughout the whole process, is very, very collaborative. I mean, Rick has the vision, he knows the content, he knows the location and the show that he wants to produce. But then it's very much a team effort.
To me, the exciting challenge from a creative point of view is the collaboration here. And over the last decade, I have gained such an appreciation by the commitment of everybody on our crew to making this show as good as it can possibly be. I mean, it's reasonable that I would work really hard because my name's on it. But what endlessly impresses me is how both Simon and Carl, or whoever's shooting the show, will work every bit as hard as me from beginning to end to make this show as good as it can possibly be. I wouldn't trade my TV crew for all of NBC, CBS, and ABC. We rock.
It's highly collaborative, and I really appreciate that. It's both a pleasant experience to be part of a collaborative team where the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. And also there's this I think, very fruitful creative tension that sustains us, and that has to do with the fact that Rick comes from a guidebook perspective, and he tends to equate value with content. So in Rick's eyes, the more content that fits into the show, the more value the show has.
To me, it's a responsibility to take airtime with the show. And I don't just want to give a bunch of what some producers call eye candy. I'm committed to the content.
And from our perspective, part of the value of the show is in conveying the emotional impact of the places we travel to, which is reflected in having these beautiful images that aren't necessarily accompanied by dialogue, but just music and the beauty of the place.
Simon and the cameraman are committed to the beautiful aspect of it and how viewable it is. I'm committed to the content. I want to put that script in a centrifuge and have it spin around, and there'd still be a lot of content there when it's all done.
As a producer, especially in the field, I'm sort of torn between these two needs, because Rick, on one hand, I mean, he has so much information. He's just a walking encyclopedia of knowledge of all these years in Europe, and then his love of history and his knowledge of art, and he just wants to just tell it all.
If I got my way all the time on the script, the show would be a wonderful guidebook.
But yes, certainly in terms of television, it's not a guidebook, and we have, I like to sort of say, let the images tell the story.
I'm a history student. All my friends at my work say I'm so into dead things, you know, I just love dead things. But we gotta make Europe live, you know. I'm the tour guide, and I really know travel. But these guys are the artists, and they know, the cameraman would know the art of composing the shots and getting the very best photography. And of course, Simon knows how to take all of this and make it into good television.
People just don't appreciate romanticism like they should.
It takes us 6 days to produce a half-hour episode, and that's really scrambling. I even hesitate to say that because by industry standards, I think that's very, very fast, and people would wonder, how can you do that? We usually come over here to do 2 or 3 shows during a shoot. It's 12 or 18 days. Occasionally, we try to do more shows on one trip.
The job certainly has its rewards, but it is a lot of work. It's certainly not like just going on vacation with a video camera. It's the workload is pretty substantial.
One would think that it's this fantasy kind of a profession, and in some ways it is, but it's exhausting, you know? It's not a vacation by any stretch of the imagination.
It is hard to keep up with Rick's pace.
It's safe to say he works harder than anybody else I know, without a doubt.
That's true.
I'm pretty disciplined when I'm working. I'm away from home a lot, and I sort of feel like I owe it to my family that if I'm over here, I better be working all the time.
He's extraordinary how much energy he gets from the process. He loves it. He's so passionate about it. To him, he could just be going almost day and night. And I think his tendency is to want us to go day and night. Now, we try hard to keep up, but, you know, it's awfully difficult because he just seems to get refueled, but the more, the better.
Yeah, let's go.
You know, it's a bit like holding on to a bull by the tail. You're just, you hang on.
When I'm producing TV, man, I charge out of bed every morning, and I'm also inspired by how hard our crew works.
Rick's the Energizer Bunny of travel, and he will just go and go and go. And so another role Simon plays in the dynamic of the three of us is he can kind of rein him in. You know, Rick, it's time for a coffee break.
A little coffee break goes a long way.
Or even better, time for a glass of wine and a meal. So I'm very grateful to Simon for putting on the brakes at those important moments.
If the crew's performing properly, we allow a short break for lunch.
30 seconds.
I have to say, he's not lugging the gear around either.
Have you ever seen a producer, director who carries the tripod? This is a very unusual man.
Simon is a producer, but he's also enormously strong, and he carries like a mule way more than his share. And you know, I've got the camera, and I sometimes carry the tripod, but basically, Simon is the pack horse of the operation, for which I'm eternally grateful.
Seems to be my role.
I need some more coffee.
No.
Let's go. We can just park the gear, because I'd like to show me with the bag actually getting on the train, because that's what people do. I work a long day with the crew, and then I'm glad that the crew has a little better pain-pleasure ratio than I do. And I go to my room after dinner, and I pretty eagerly hit the computer and make that script right up to date, so Simon gets a fresh draft the next morning.
At the end of the day, and it can be long days, the cameraman and I are ready for a break. And Rick, we know, is just still up in his hotel room. He has his computer out, has a glass of orange juice, and he's just banging away. He's writing emails back to the office. He's reworking the script. He has his little printer, and he's printing out new versions of the script. And then I have the joy of sometimes not hearing and sometimes just ignoring a little sound late at night where I hear this little script coming in underneath my door. And Rick will ask me at breakfast time if I've reviewed the script yet. I'm just astounded. He has phenomenal energy, and it's difficult to keep up with it at times, but we try.
I write a lot of different things, and I think perhaps the most challenging and most rewarding writing I do is the script. I used to think that the script should be all set in stone when you left home if you're well prepared. And I've really learned over the last 15 years of producing these TV shows that the script is a work in progress.
Most of the segments have been planned, and certainly in terms of appointments and arrangements, they've all been made. But we're always open for change.
You get your positive serendipity and you get your negative serendipity. And if something doesn't pan out, that's fine. Something else will fill into something that you didn't expect. So we really run with what works over here.
You good for that hike? It's 3 blocks there and over to the right. So San Zenale. We go straight up the street until San Zenale.
I love being a tour guide, and when you're a tour guide, one of the fundamental issues is how do you get the most out of your time. And when we're traveling as a film crew, I enjoy the responsibility of sort of being the tour guide as far as how we're going to get the script covered in 5 or 6 days.
Let's walk right now to Santa Maria delle Grazie. Then we'll take a taxi down to the center, and this is just bim, 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 right in a row.
Rick is an amazing organizer. Every morning, we get together at breakfast, he pulls out the script that he's rewritten the night before, and we go through the day, and we start with the appointments that are unchanging or unchangeable, and then fill in the gaps.
All right, we're good. We're legal in the La Scala at 3 o'clock. It's a fascinating challenge because you've got so many issues out of your control. Most important, the weather.
And it's starting to rain out there. It's not just grey, it's raining now.
We got some problems here. Man, we were on top of things yesterday, now we're going to be digging out.
Day 1, beautifully sunny, we're on top of things. Day 2, we've been doing all the indoor sites. We're okay, but we better get good weather tomorrow. You kind of get your bad weather cards. If it's bad weather, you can do one of the indoor sites. But you don't want to spend all your bad weather cards in the first half of the show because then you're out of cards, and if the weather's bad in the last half of the show, you're shooting stuff that is weather critical. The weather report is rain, rain, rain for the next 3 days, so we're flip-flopping and we're going right up to the lakes now. So we're certain to get this gorgeous romantic sunshine in Lago di Como. When it's sunny, we got to be shooting exteriors because it's vital to have that sunlight helping the colors pop and the shadows to be great and the people to be out and everything is more lively and vibrant.
It's just kind of panic mode in a certain sense.
Run and gun. Since we got here to the lakes, it's gone very, very well. When it's sunny like this, you can just get shots very quickly. The whole thing just seems to it's much more effortless.
You hold this for me. Really feel the romance of Europe.
Working with the weather, and the weather working with us makes a great day.
So just don't look at the camera, and you're part of the show.
I'm shooting, and they're eating.
Somebody's working.
Train back to Milan. Good day.
Seeing The Last Supper, one of the greatest works in art history, is well worth the hassle. Leonardo portrays the last dinner Jesus had with his disciples before he was crucified.
One of the great challenges and one of the great opportunities that we have in producing the show is to film the most beautiful art from Western civilization and bring it home so people can enjoy it in their living rooms and not have to fly all the way to Europe.
One of the strengths, I think, of the show is not only what great art that we shoot, but how we shoot it, and also Rick's way of discussing it and talking about the art.
This unfinished statue is unique in that it shows the genius of Michelangelo midway through a major rework.
You find yourself in front of some of the most beautiful masterpieces of art in Western culture. And though most of the show is shot absolutely from the perspective of a tourist, one of the exceptions to that rule can be with museums, because often museums like the Louvre or the Uffizi in Florence won't allow us to go in with our camera and tripod when the museum's open to the public. And instead, we pay a significant fee and then go in on the day that the museum's closed to the public. And we go and shoot the art alone, essentially. And it's a great privilege to be standing alone in front of the Mona Lisa or Botticelli's Venus or any number of unbelievable masterpieces.
So beautiful. I mean, it's so cool to be here just alone.
It's one of the perks of the job, I have to say.
But in the case of the Last Supper, you have essentially a very spare room with this incredible, large fresco that everybody knows, but that I'd never seen in person, adorning the end of it. So, you know, you stand there, dwarfed by this thing, and just, I like to take a personal moment, you know, amid the flurry of production, just to appreciate the magnitude of the work, wherever it is. Our challenge as cameramen is to address a piece with the camera in such a way that we convey, that we bring back to the screen its power and its beauty, and we can focus on the details that Rick talks about in the script, because a lot of the coverage of fine art is in the details, in groupings, in composition, in color, in perspective.
You know, it'd be good to have a still of each of the groups of three.
Done that.
Good. And we're pushing in on Jesus' face.
He works with us to make sure that Carl's getting some little detail which you may not even be aware of, but by the time the cameraman's, you know, focusing and isolating it in the frame, you know, you really get to appreciate the art at a different level.
I love this.
It's interesting to me that we have to actually factor in what art can we show back home. We go to palaces, we go to galleries, we go to churches where gorgeous art, classical art, has been appreciated for centuries. And because it's too fleshy for early 21st century American tastes, we have to wonder, can we actually show this on TV in the United States?
It's a very odd situation to find yourself in. You're looking at all this incredible art that can span 2,000 years, even 2,500 years. People have enjoyed this, it's public art, and suddenly, somehow or other here in the 21st century in the United States, it has been deemed inappropriate.
Each of our 30-minute programs is coming out of a 7-page script, and each script is made up of voiceover and on cameras. The voiceover is when you hear my voice behind the beautiful pictures, and when we have a tough time covering something with beautiful pictures, some sort of a concept or some kind of history or something like this, it's more appropriate for me to stand in front of the camera and say that. Those are called the on-cameras.
When we do Rick's on cameras, which is another place where I really respect Rick's ability, first of all, to memorize his lines.
Of the founding fathers of modern Italy.
Usually just right on the location, when we know we're there and we're looking at where we're going to shoot it, we retweak the lines to make sure that it's what he wants to say and how he wants to say it. So that's the first step. Then he goes off on his own and he memorizes these lines. I mean, he's extraordinary at
In
it.
the 1500s, the entire city was encircled by a state-of-the-art wall.
It is such a fun challenge to do these on cameras because, number one, I have to remember my lines.
He's a painter and a sculptor, architect, engineer, musician, scientist. He can do it all, and really well.
I usually know what Carl's got planned or something pretty close to what he's seeing. And then I listen and let Rick do a few takes.
They say for every church in Rome, there's a bank in Milan. Romans called this place Mediolanum, the central place. And it was, and by the 4th century, housing French, Spanish, and Italian troops. But they weren't Italian, they were Austrian. And for me, just learn your lines, Steves. French, Spanish, and Austrian troops. Then came seas of students, and it became a sort of a field trip destination, and it was never the same.
Those involve all kinds of challenges, from factors we can control, such as the framing and what kind of move we're going to involve, whether Rick's going to stand in one place or whether he's going to walk toward the camera, how much of the background we want to show, and what parts, to the elements we can't control.
In the 1500s, we have audio problems, we have a jackhammer, we have a street singer, we've got people staring at us from behind. In about 1500, with the French conquest, this kicked off.
Usually I get him to sort of lighten up a little bit because it takes some concentration to get his lines. And then when it feels like we hit the right tone and it worked for me, and then I usually look to Carl to make sure that it works for him in terms of his framing. And if he gives me the little head nod, and I was happy with the tone that Rick seemed to strike, I usually say, that's good. That's a keeper.
That's good. I think
It's
we're
good. We got it.
We got it.
Thank you.
Very evocative on camera.
Simon and I have developed a wonderful little extra stage of the production called scrubbing the script.
A short tram ride away takes you to perhaps the biggest collection of statues in all Italy. Statues of a different kind. In fact, perhaps the takes you...
Favorite collection of statues in Italy?
No.
Just scrubbing every sentence in that script to make sure that every word earns its keep.
It really is a sort of a dynamic process, and it's a really, it's very organic. I mean, we all sort of sit around and just watch it form.
Markets. Market. Yeah.
Speaking from a cameraman's perspective, it's wonderful for us as cameramen to have the opportunity to contribute to the script at a verbal level. Part of the scrubbing of the script is correlating what we've shot with what's being written.
You've got that stuff. I mean, you can say Weeping Widow, Heartbroken Angel.
So we know we have footage to cover what the words suggest.
Yeah, trumpets, thunders. Thunders fascism. Oh, yeah, that's nice.
And then part of it is just a verbal process where we're batting vocabulary back and forth. And, Rick is famous for his writing style.
Everything is impeccable from the staff to the porcini mushrooms.
When he writes something, he's written it. And it's usually informal, and it's usually funny.
Exclusive and elusive penthouse apartments with the roof gardens oversee the shopping action.
He's a master at condensing history and art and religion and weaving them into a cohesive whole in very few words. And yet sometimes we feel like we need to rein some of the verbal excesses back a little bit.
For high fashion edibles,
I'm so thankful that Simon and Carl are really strong with me when it comes to debating.
takes you to perhaps, well, I like that, perhaps.
It's got to be the biggest. He loves alliteration, using sentences where 3 or 4 words in the sentence start with the same letter, for instance. And sometimes it's great, and sometimes we like to pull the brakes out.
It's a wonderful creative process, and we go head on head there to debate these things in the script.
Fashionistas,
Yeah, I was going to say fashionistas.
does that word work?
No. Fashionistas, really?
Well, maybe not.
It sounds kind of silly.
You almost don't recognize the script that we come up with at the end. It's definitely a much, much stronger show from where we began.
Okay, very good. I like that. And then you come to the on-camera.
We love your shows.
Are you having a good time?
Oh, yeah, this is great.
Good. Well, nice to see you again.
Good to see you again.
All right.
Take care.
Bye now. Ciao.
Have a good one.
One of my favorite things about working over here in Europe to produce these shows is meeting people who watch the shows and then are traveling because of the shows. It lightens our day as we're doing our work and we see people constantly, hey, Rick, love the show,
In Georgia.
In Georgia. And whether they're from Houston or Delaware or Mississippi or California, all over the United States, people are watching this show, being inspired to travel, picking up some practical tips, getting an idea of where they want to go. We'd love to get some Orlando, you're from Orlando? Orlando viewers in our show. Come with this way, okay? I'll show you what to do. And it comes in very handy, too, because sometimes we need a little help to have somebody walk around a corner or have an ice cream cone or enjoy a piece of art in the museum. And many, many times we have some of our viewers making little cameos that way. We need a good-looking couple to show how romantic this little walk is.
Do we have to make out?
You have to make out, yeah. I've never run a marathon, and I don't think I ever will, but I have a little feeling of the exhilaration that a marathon runner has when they finish the race successfully. Because after my crew and I have finished one of our shows, the script is covered, the last on camera is in the can, it's sort of a very gratifying high-five moment. I realize that this show brings the world into people's living rooms who couldn't otherwise travel. And to me, that's a beautiful thing. Until next time, keep on traveling. Ciao.
Okay, we're golden.
I think that's good.
We golden. We got great ones.
Good work. I need a coffee. That doesn't work. I need a coffee.
If only I could find a reasonable cup of tea.
A lot of dogs like what we do.
Okay, you don't have to follow me around anymore. Do you have fun on the shoots? Yeah.